live in a world defined by media. Raising children becomes difficult in ways our parents could never conceive. The most perplexing of media to parents is often video games. Some, overwhelmed, try to ignore or put all electronic media away. Michael Mann is part of the National Institute on Media and the Family, a watchdog group on video game and other media industries.
This media-saturated culture was inundating our family, and we needed to protect our family, and this was a way to do it: throw the TV away. And we did that. In fact, we left the TV in the closet, because that's what we did. We put it in the closet, and we left it there for 3 years. During that time, however, I heard a man by the name of David Walsh speak. He's the founder of the National Institute on Media and the Family. And when I heard him speak, I knew that we had to take our TV out of the closet and set it back up and sit down and watch what our kids watch, and as parents become involved in how they're connected to media. So we started to watch what our kids watch, and we started to play the games that our kids play. And that's really what we encourage parents to do, now, instead of looking at all electronic media as being evil, because it's not. Whoever tells the stories defines the culture. And so it's important for all of us as members of this culture to pay attention to the stories that are being told.
You as parents have a responsibility to be storytellers for your children. This video explains all of the content ratings of video games and gives you sources of information that will help you decide what games your kids should be playing. The first tool parents can use in navigating the world of video games is the Entertainment Software Rating Board. Called the ESRB, the board is a nonprofit self-regulatory organization. Established by the video game industry in 1994, the ESRB assigns content ratings to video games and enforces advertising regulations upon the video game industry. While there is no legal requirement for a game to have an ESRB rating, most retailers like Target, Walmart, and Best Buy won't sell a game that does not have a rating. There are 6 different ratings the ESRB uses to rate each game: EC, E, E10, T, M, and AO. Each game box has its rating displayed on the front bottom left corner. On the back, there are some phrases why this game has its rating. This game was rated T for crude humor and fantasy violence. Now we will explain each of the ESRB ratings, especially the games with more adult content. Games rated Early Childhood, or EC, are intended for ages 3 and up. They contain no inappropriate material. Games rated Everyone, or E, have content suitable for ages 6 and up. E-rated games may have a little cartoon or fantasy violence and rarely have any inappropriate language or behavior. Games rated E10, as the name indicates, are appropriate for those over the age of 10. Games with this rating have more cartoonish violence, mild language, and some suggestive themes. A teen or T-rated game is appropriate for 13 and up. T games may have violence, suggestive themes, crude humor, some blood, simulated gambling, and/or infrequent use of strong language. Joe Corbett is an experienced manager for GameStop, a video game chain store. He has seen firsthand the work of the ESRB.
You could take a game that was rated T in 2005, and then you could take a game in 2007 that's rated M, and they have the same content. So the ESRB has actually then stood up and said, you know what, we feel like that content is M-rated, and now it's no longer a T game.
M, or mature games, have content suitable for ages 17 and up. M games may have intense violence, blood, gore, sexual content, and strong language. M-rated games, like the infamous Grand Theft Auto, are often the most controversial. M-rated games are not meant for children. It's up to the parent's discretion whether their child is ready for an M-rated game. M games are the trickiest of all to gauge whether your teenager is ready for them. Games like Halo have you fighting aliens to save humanity. The Medal of Honor series reenacts various World War II battles from the Allied perspective. The Manhunt games focus on creative ways to kill people. The gorier, the better. It may be best to approach M games on a game-by-game basis. Titles rated adults only are for ages 18 and older. These games have prolonged scenes of graphic nudity, intense violence, and other mature content. It is incredibly rare for a game to have an AO rating, Major retailers will not sell AO games. Therefore, a game that gets an AO rating is usually toned down by the manufacturer until the ESRB gives it an M rating. Games with a rating pending, called RP, have not yet been rated and are not yet for sale. The RP rating is only seen in advertising for a game. The ESRB is not infallible, and so ratings are more guidelines as opposed to rules. Use your personal judgment. Groups like the National Institute on Media and the Family have criticized the ESRB. For example, the Institute believes that the Grand Theft Auto games should have been rated AO, not their current M rating. There is one problem the ESRB has rating games, and it's not its fault. The problem is that it's almost impossible to completely review an entire game.
Why wouldn't you play the game all the way through? I mean, that's how the movie raters rate, right? But when you rate a movie, it's 2, maybe 3 hours, and you're done. You've seen the movie. You've seen the whole content of the movie. With a video game, it takes, well, actually, they kind of know, but what would you estimate, Joe? How long does it take to get all the way through a video game?
Between 8 and 100 hours.
All right. So there's the challenge. What the ESRB does is they take some video, they receive some video from the game maker, and the rater watches the video. And then they also get a script from the game of the language that's used. So with the script and the video, that's how they rate the games.
You are the ultimate judge on what video games your kid plays. If there's a game you aren't certain is okay for your child despite its rating, listen to your instincts. You know more than you think. However, that does not mean you shouldn't pay attention to the ESRB. If an ESRB rating doesn't tell you enough about a certain game, there are other sources of information. One of the easiest is a store employee like Joe.
And you go into any GameStop and you could ask any associate, what would be suitable for this age group, and they will direct you to something that would be suitable. And even if you suggest, well, she or he would like Grand Theft Auto, I've heard that's a bad game, and then we have to explain why, that probably isn't suitable for them. We say, well, hey, this game is rated M for this, this, and that. And sometimes parents will say that's fine. When sometimes the parents will be like, you're putting that game back. How about Scooby-Doo? Working in the company last year, it was just a policy. It was nothing that was being enforced on us to say, you can't sell this game. It was just there. And then early this year, in 2007, they decided, yeah, we're going to fire people over it.
Joe would get fired if he or one of his employees sold an M-rated game to someone under 17. So not only are they a good source of information, many store employees are on your side. In the last few years, major retailers have cracked down on kids buying M-rated games without parental permission.
It's a manhunt.
There are tons of websites and print media that can give you more in-depth information. GamerDad.com is a website that reviews games just for parents. Each review analyzes the ESRB rating, gives independent information on the content of the game and the game's quality. The National Institute on Media and the Family website, MediaWise.org, also has information on the ESRB, various games, and great advice for parents. OneUp.com is an excellent source of information on games. You can read game reviews, watch actual game footage, see screenshots of the game, and read excellent gaming journalism. There are also dozens of gamer magazines and websites that review games and report on the game industry. Electronic Gaming Monthly, Game Informer, Nintendo Power, and more. Talk to your local retailer for help choosing what magazine is right for you.
Play what your kids play, to know what your kids are doing. Research shows that parents who play video games make wiser and smarter choices for their children than parents who aren't aware of the video game content.
Basically, make sure that you know what your kid's playing. Just look at his games. You can look at the back and you can kind of gauge it, what it's about, and maybe watch him play it. And if you're really truly concerned, play it and play it with them. And that way you're going to understand what they're getting involved in.
Video games are here to stay. Like everything else in life, there are bad parts to video games, but there are wonderful parts. Video games are a great way for kids to have fun, make friends, and even spend quality time with you. But like everything else, it must be done in moderation. Pay attention to what your kids play. Play with them, even for a short while. Even if you are a terrible gamer, your kid would love it if you played with them. This is the age of media. The storyteller controls the culture. It's up to you to be the storyteller for your children.